Good evening. Welcome to Inside News. I'm Serena. Today is Wednesday, October 8th, 2025, and we bring you the stories the mainstream media overlooks. Tonight, we explore underreported developments from across the globe that deserve your attention. We begin in Africa, where a state audit has exposed massive financial irregularities in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Mining companies underreported $16.8 billion in revenue between 2018 and 2023. The country produces most of the world's cobalt, essential for battery production. Weak regulatory oversight enabled the losses, which could have funded critical development programs. This erodes public trust and risks fueling further instability in the region. Nigeria commissioned its first wholly owned floating production storage vessel this week. The move aims to boost oil output and reduce dependence on foreign operators in Africa's top oil-producing nation. Local firms now control operations. The Niger Delta faces environmental concerns if management fails, but increased revenue could support infrastructure development. In Burkina Faso, the military government arrested European NGO workers on espionage charges. The junta has tightened control over foreign entities since seizing power in 2022. The Sahel region battles jihadist insurgencies affecting over 2 million displaced people. These arrests may deter international aid organizations, worsening humanitarian conditions. South Africa saw political tensions rise as Nelson Mandela's grandson returned after Israeli authorities deported him. He participated in a Gaza aid flotilla attempting to break the blockade. Pretoria has accused Tel Aviv of genocide in international courts. The incident strengthens domestic support for Palestinian causes while straining diplomatic relations. And workplace toxicity in South Africa continues to receive insufficient attention despite affecting millions. Post-apartheid inequalities persist in corporate environments. Addressing these issues could improve productivity in a nation where unemployment exceeds 30%. Moving to Asia, where China's Premier Li Qiang plans the highest-level visit to North Korea since 2019. The trip signals warming relations amid U.S.-China tensions. Enhanced economic cooperation with isolated North Korea could alter East Asian security dynamics and influence denuclearization discussions. The World Health Organization urged India to verify whether a cough syrup linked to child deaths was exported. Testing lapses at pharmaceutical firms raise concerns about quality control. India's pharmaceutical industry exports $40 billion annually, and damaged trust could disrupt global supply chains. Vietnam faces scrutiny as a possible tariff escape route for Chinese firms exporting to the United States. Trade war escalations since 2018 have pushed companies to relocate manufacturing. Vietnam's GDP benefits, but increased production risks drawing U.S. Regulatory attention. In Singapore, online communities highlighted excessive teacher workloads and calls for fair compensation. Asia's high-performing education systems create intense pressures. Unresolved issues could lead to educator shortages, impacting human capital development across the region. Meanwhile, efforts to empower people with disabilities in Asia remain underreported despite affecting over 690 million individuals. Stigma and rapid urbanization overshadow these initiatives. Governments and NGOs work to foster inclusive growth as populations age. In Europe, the European Union's top official warned of Russia's gray zone campaign against the bloc. Hybrid threats include disinformation and sabotage operations targeting unity among 27 member nations. Defense spending may exceed 2% of GDP for NATO members as tensions escalate. The EU advanced plans to phase out Russian energy by January 2028, clearing the first political hurdle. Member states dependent on Russian gas negotiate alternatives. LNG imports rose 40% since 2022. Energy price volatility continues, but 450 million Europeans may gain long-term security. Denmark-based Ørsted raised $9 billion for wind energy projects, signaling recovery in the renewables sector amid cost challenges. The investment could accelerate Europe's green transition and support 2050 net zero goals by reducing fossil fuel dependence. And the EU rolled out a $1.1 billion artificial intelligence plan targeting key industries. The initiative emphasizes technological sovereignty amid US-China rivalry. Strategic sectors like manufacturing could see boosted competitiveness and innovation hubs. Across the Atlantic, the United States government shutdown reached day 8. Federal operations face disruption amid budget disputes between Congress and the White House. Air traffic controller shortages have worsened. Delayed services affect 330 million Americans and could slow economic recovery. America's shadow economy expands as federal benefits incentivize underreported income among low-wage workers. Millions participate, distorting labor data. The trend undermines tax revenues and complicates social safety net programs. In Mexico, fear grips a town plagued by cartel extortion. Drug wars dating to 2006 continue affecting local businesses and residents. The violence drives migration surges that strain US-Mexico relations. President Trump announced a substantial aid package for soybean farmers affected by trade policies. Agricultural challenges persist since 2018 tariffs. The bailout supports rural economies in key states, but raises fiscal concerns as national debt exceeds $30 trillion. And a lawsuit filed in Chicago accuses ICE of brutality during immigration enforcement operations. Allegations of mistreatment affect migrant communities. The case could prompt policy reviews influencing border security dynamics. Finally, in Oceania, Japan's ENEOS will test room temperature hydrogen production in Australia. The technology enables transport as a gasoline-like liquid. This collaboration addresses clean energy needs across vast landscapes and could pioneer export models supporting net zero transitions by 2050. An Australian researcher was arrested in Thailand for defaming the Malaysian government. The case highlights free speech tensions in Southeast Asia and affects Australian expatriates. The incident may discourage investigative journalism, impacting transparency in Oceania-Asia relations. Western Australia Police announced a major drug seizure of 11 kilograms, including heroin and methamphetamine. The operation in Perth targets organized crime networks. Reduced street-level availability could enhance public safety for 2.6 million residents. And global scams continue rising, with over half of adults encountering fraudulent schemes. Oceania faces consumer threats requiring policy reforms for digital protections to reduce economic losses. These stories shape our world, yet rarely receive the spotlight they warrant. At Inside News, we remain committed to uncovering what others overlook. Thank you for watching. Good journeys to all.